dead mayor back in Boston.
Yeah.
Which since it got you guys fired, I'm assuming was probably not a hit with the bosses.
No. That one, not much thought behind it. Opie came up with this idea, called me up, said, what do you think? You know, a lot of radio jocks do these dopey April Fool's gags every year. And, you know, look out your window at noon and you'll see a meteor. Oh, you're great. So Opie called up and goes, let's just blow it out of the water. Let's do something so out there, so outrageous that no one will believe it, first of all. And it'll put all the other ones to shame. It'll pretty much end the whole genre of jocks doing these stupid things, because after that, where are you going to go?
Right.
So he goes, I'm thinking we say Mayor Menino's dead. So I'm just groggy. I go, okay, sounds good. I'm just, I've been doing radio at that point out of construction for like a year. So I'm just happy to be there. So, yeah, whatever. Just shooting planes from the hotel window? Sure.
Awesome idea.
Well, yeah. The best part, you gotta get a little background. I wake up a lot earlier than that, or at least back then. So I wake up by 6 or 7 and start obsessing about our show and what we need to do that day. And I just happen to call him at a weak moment, like 7:30 in the morning, knowing he's not going to be awake and he'll just agree to anything. I think when we got to work, you even said, so what are we doing?
I go, why?
Yeah, I had this weird dream.
What are we doing?
I'm like, no, dude, we're doing it. Okay.
And the way everything fell into place was just everything stacked against us, or for us, if you want to, go for the gag.
Right.
It worked out perfectly. But the other things, Menino being out of town at that time, actually, when we went in to actually go on the air and say that he was killed in a car crash, was it?
Yeah.
He was on a flight, and no one from his staff could get a hold of him.
Oh, jeez.
So, yeah, it just worked out perfectly that some people got panicked. We just went on the air and kind of casually said that he was dead. Now, at this point, the boss starts getting calls. What's going on? What are you guys saying? So we kind of told him, and
You told him it was a prank also.
yeah, we told him it was, it's April Fool's. Come on, who's going to the Opie and Anthony show for news? If you even hear an inkling that the mayor of Boston was dead, you switch over to BZ or one of the news stations and get the real news.
Right.
You don't say, oh, when is Opie and Anthony coming back for another news break? You don't go to us for news. We always said that. You don't go to CNN for a dick joke. You don't go to ONA for the news. And so people were calling up our boss and saying, what's the deal with the mayor being dead? He started getting nervous just for the fact that he was getting calls.
Right.
Comes into us and tells us to back off the gag. Not to stop it, just to back off a little. Don't hit it so much.
And this is how you piss off your boss. You ignore him.
Completely ignore. And I don't know how well it works for your career in other lines of work, but in radio, if you ignore your boss, you're going places. First out the door, but then after that.
And it's also very important to lock the studio door.
Yeah. Lock the door
so he can't come in.
Don't listen to him anymore.
But seriously, you locked the door so he couldn't come in?
Oh yeah, and then you figure, it's going to take him at least an hour to find the plug to pull the show off the air. So we had another hour, and then he's begging us, saying, "Hey, what about these breaking news stories all over Boston TV?" We're like, don't pay attention to that crap.
Yeah, at that point we were able to see a TV in another studio, and it was on the news as it usually was. And we're looking, and all of a sudden we're seeing Mayor dead ? And radio prank ? April Fool's hoax. Oh Jesus, we're in trouble now. And I don't believe we actually said he wasn't dead for the entire show. Did we come on at the end of that show and say April Fool's?
No.
Or I think at that point we just left.
No, that's the beauty of that's the beauty of how stupid we are. He goes, okay, as long as you guys say it's an April Fool's prank at the end of the show, we're like, okay, boss, no problem. And all of a sudden, we just so happened to run out of time, and I don't know what happened. We hit the Limp Bizkit record, and we walked out of the studio.
Yeah, and then when we were off the air, the next couple of days, all hell broke loose. The shit hit the fan, and our bosses just were looking to hang us out to dry and save their own hides at that point. We've been in that situation quite a few times, where the bosses then scurry and just leave us hanging there.
But you forgot to mention the pies, Anthony.
Oh, here's another thing that happened.
And here's another way to piss off your boss.
Yeah, our boss, he decides he's going to try to smooth things over. So he calls up the mayor's office and suggests that as a retribution for our saying the mayor was dead, we were to go in those old stocks, you know, those old things that you put your hands in. Yeah. We were to be put in those as the mayor then would throw pies at our face.
And everything would be okay after that.
Now, he brought this up to us without going to the mayor first, without anything. We instantly said, there's no way in hell we're having pies thrown out. Where's the wacky horn? Or the whistle? So he was trying to get this together with the mayor. And he goes, no, you're going to do this. So we go on the air that day and spend about 45 minutes to an hour talking about how stupid an idea this is and how we're never doing it.
And they already ordered the pies.
They ordered the pies.
Like 1,000 of them.
I forgot about that. They already ordered the pies. And now he's hearing us saying how stupid this idea is, how we're never going to do this. And he's livid. He is livid. So he calls us on the studio line, because again, we have the door locked. And just starts screaming at us and bitching us out. And we never apologized for it, never said we were going to do it. And that idea fell apart, so now we're stuck with about 1,000 pies.
Well, yeah, once again, we didn't listen to him. We screamed back at him. That's always good.
Yeah, screaming back at the boss.
I think we showed who was the real boss that day.
I think at that point we knew we were out the door anyway. It's just a matter of time. Things were really snowballing in a bad way for us. And the pies that were left over, they had to decide how to get rid of those and still use them to make us look better. So they decided to send us and the pies to a children's hospital. To a children's hospital, where we would then sit for a newspaper and take pictures of us handing these pies to these sick children.
And remember, it was April, key to the story. And they hired a news photographer.
Yeah.
It wasn't even the real press. They hired one of these, publicity PR firms, thank you, to take the pictures, and hopefully the local papers would run the picture of Aunt and I being good guys at the children's hospital handing out the pies.
So we get there and we see, these sick kids and everything, and realize this is such a stupid ploy by the company to try to make us look good, that we pretty much told the photographer that showed up, if he snaps one picture, we're going to kick his ass. And to get in his car and leave, we called up the station and said, make nothing of this. You guys are vultures and assholes. And we pretty much just gave the pies to the kids and got out of there.
Once again, not listening to the boss. But Anthony's missing a crucial part of the story. This is black comedy at its best, kids. We're sitting there, still trying to figure out what the hell did we get ourselves into, and they're getting ready to take our picture, and the pile of pies, it looked beautiful. And the kids were there, and all of a sudden, I don't know, one of the teachers or whatever, one of the people that were in charge there, decided that it would be really nice if the kids started singing Christmas carols. Now let's remember, this is April, right around the first week of April, okay? A few days after April Fools. And this one girl did just a beautiful rendition of Silent Night, I gotta tell you. just awe-inspiring. And she completed her little Silent Night solo, and it almost brought a tear to my eye. I'm like, wow, she's a really good singer. And the whole time I'm wondering in my head, why are they singing Christmas carols in April? And that's when one of the people there, one of the adults, whispered in my ear, you see Cindy there who just finished Silent Night? I'm like, yeah, that was really nice. She's not going to see Christmas. Oh my God. Isn't that awful? So, and I looked at each other like, you know what? That's it. Time to not listen to the bosses again. And then, the rest is history, like Ann said earlier. So
you got to realize when the boss, I guess this counts for whatever line of work you're in, when they don't know what the hell that you're supposed to be doing. They don't know what you do and how you do it and how you make it work, that you can't listen to their input. And in radio, I mean, this guy is a suit He's a corporate guy.
Right.
He's a guy that has to sit with the salespeople and hash things out, and shake hands and PR, and he knows nothing of what makes people laugh.
Right.
What's funny? What's clever? What's going to bring listeners in, and then he's going to try to tell you what's going to do all that.
Right.
Meanwhile, you're the one on the air. You're the one that pretty much knows. That's why you have the job. What the people want to hear. And he's constantly got to be a part of that machine. Like this guy, Dave Douglas, this idiot we've just been talking about.
The amoeba. We called him the amoeba.
No backbone. He used to say he wanted us to consider him the third member of the Opie and Anthony show. The third member.
That's like the boss that wants to go out with the guys after work. Hey guys, let's go for a beer.
Ugh, but it's the boss.
Awful.
No matter how much of a chum he is, no matter how much he thinks he's being funny and tying his humor into maybe a beat you just did, he's not funny. And he doesn't know funny, and he can't tell you funny. He can tell you about, how much the show's billing. That's great. He can tell you those things. But when it comes down to, guys, I don't think you should do this because I don't believe it's funny enough to offset the risk involved of the complaints that are going to... Shut up. We're doing it. We know why we're here and what got us here. They always try to get involved.
To summarize, bosses are guys that failed at radio. That's why they're bosses.
Yeah.
I think that's true with a lot of professions.
99% of the PDs in radio,
PD, production,
program director,
failed at being on the air.
So
have some tape somewhere of them on the air, and it's not funny. It's funny to play and show how not funny it is.
And you, as the employee, should realize that your boss is stupid.
Yeah,
and that's why he's the boss.
Yeah, bosses are people that
failed at your job.
There's two
your job.
Yeah.
What's that?
There's two types of people that did your job. People that got fired from it, and people that got promoted to be boss of it because they couldn't do it. One, I guess, had a better bullshit story than the other. One guy goes, "Sorry, I can't do it." And the other guy goes, "I have a better idea on how to do this job." And then they get to be boss, and you gotta listen to them. Amazing. That's like revelation for me.
Worldview is changing.
Yeah.
I see it.
Twisting around.
I think even the boss at Starbucks is just a guy that failed at making good drinks.
He can't make a cup of coffee.
Can't make a cup of coffee, but he can boss other people around.
Yeah, he knows
That's
how to
his
make
charm.
people make coffee. Oh, yeah.
So then, what about the last firing, the cathedral thing?
Oh, yeah.
What's the follow? What was the fallout after
The
that?
fallout was a show, the Opie and Anthony show that was syndicated to many major markets around the country, is no longer heard on the air. And we are sitting eagerly awaiting our return to the radio airwaves. There are some contractual things that we really can't get into the details of, but these are the things. These are the reasons why we're not on the air, and we want to work. We love the medium of radio, but due to contractual issues, we can't go on the air right now.
Right.
Till what? June?
Till yeah.
June.
I think we have to give up our firstborn, and then we'll be able to go back on the air and do what we love. Thank you.
And you're essentially just waiting for the contract to run out at that point.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Contracts aren't the greatest thing.
Yeah. Not a lot of fun dealing with those.
I didn't know what I was signing at the time.
See, that's where the bosses really get you. See, we could get them by locking doors and having fun and hijinks, but in the end, when they pull out that piece of paper you signed at the beginning of your tenure, ouch.
Look at us. Does it look like we read? I mean,
I don't know.
the contract we had to sign had to be 6 inches high. Who has the time?
Am I going to read that? I was reading FHM. I wasn't reading the contract. I don't know what I signed.
And most people that have to sign contracts from an employer or a company, they never read the damn thing because there's so much mumbo jumbo in there. There's always someone looking over your shoulder just saying, sign here, sign here, sign here. Good, good, good. Okay, bye. You never know what you're signing.
So we're in limbo. That's pretty much it.
the place it is right now.
Yeah.
Can you talk about what happened that day? Are you guys allowed to do that? Like what the back and forth with the boss was?
Probably limited.
Okay.
Back and forth with the boss. I'm trying to think. Did we have a boss at that point?
Yeah, right. Well, the stuff that was already in the paper was the fact that this was done 2 times before we did the last one.
Right.
So this was the third Sex for Sam that we were doing.
And we actually have a much better story that has something to do with the first Sex for Sam.
Sure.
And it includes our boss.
Right. And someone did get fired.
Which is kind of fun. We had this guy, Psycho Mark, on our show, and for the first Sex for Sam, I'm assuming people know the contest by now. You go all over New York and have sex in public places, and there's a point system depending on where you went. And the first year of Sex for Sam, we decided to put the boss's office on the list. So,
Sex on his couch.
Yes.
Was 20 points, I believe.
And there was also the 2-point conversion.
2-point conversion for anal sex. You get the 20 points, but you get an additional 2 points, which I do believe one of the teams that won one of the years won purely because they had done the 2-point conversion. What an exciting finish!
Yeah, every opportunity they got, they did the 2-point conversion. That was the difference in the ball game. Who knew?
Who knows? It's like that, the extra point or something.
So near the end of the first Sex for Sam, Psycho Mark's couple came back to the studio area, and man, the boss had the greatest office, corner office, all glass, and he decided to go in there, and he was on the phone with us live, and he told this couple to have anal sex on the boss's leather couch, and we're just like, oh no, thinking in our heads, will we ever learn? But of course we don't.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden, Psycho Mark goes something like, Jeremy's staring right at me. He's one of our bosses. He was the lower boss, and this wasn't his office, right? It was Ken's office, who was the boss of Jeremy, if you're following me. Okay. So Psycho Mark's couple's about ready to do it, and Jeremy's pounding on the glass office. Boom, boom. You can hear it on the air. Boom, boom, boom. And Psycho Mark's like, Jeremy's telling me not to do it. Jeremy's telling me not to do it.
From what Psycho Mark said, Jeremy then stared at him through the glass door and looked right through him and pretty much told him with his face, do not have that couple have sex on the boss's couch.
Can you believe that someone has to have this conversation at work? So one of the greatest lines ever uttered on our radio show, he goes, oh, just do it.
Just do it. And the couple then proceeded to have anal sex on Ken Stevens' couch, on our boss's couch. And then there was a big to-do, about insubordination and how Psycho Mark, who was also employed at the station as one of the production guys, didn't obey a direct order from the boss, and he was fired. He got fired for that. So we have something in common with Psycho Mark. We too were fired over a Sex for Sam controversy.
How's Psycho Mark doing, you guys?
He's great. He wound up getting a job at a show that's more outrageous than the Opie and Anthony show, Fox News. So he's working over there and doing very well. We still talk with him.
Your mom's box, Psycho Mark.
Yes.
Mom's box.
And the latest one though, they got very angry at that. A lot of people from the Catholic League got upset, wrote some letters, made some phone calls, and they took our show off the air. Said, screw you guys, we're taking your show off the air.
So is this the time your boss has been the most pissed off at you? Was this particular...
It's weird, because those bosses that we were just talking about, Jeremy and Ken Stevens, they were pretty much in the same boat as us, so it wasn't like they were that angry at us.
They were in trouble for it also.
Right. Everyone remotely involved with that got in trouble.
I can't imagine that a guy that put 18 years into his career with one company would be that mad at us for something we did.
Yeah. So
it was a bad day for many people. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
So and the whole time I've been thinking, if we only chose a mosque, I think we would have got a raise. Think about it, kids.
They make you heroes these days.
That's right. called patriotism. Look into it.
Is what lesson can our readers draw from that last time then? Like if you're gonna piss off your boss.
Wow. I don't know if there's so much a lesson that can be learned than if you're gonna do something, there will be consequences. And in some cases, there's no way to really prevent the consequences if you decide to go through with the entire gag or thing. Like as far as the Sex for Sam contest goes, that, you know, we could have been fired for 20 other things that we did before that.
Right.
If the cards had fallen in a certain way, the dice were rolled in a certain way. You know, the voyeur bus thing when we had when we had a transparent bus full of nude women driving through Midtown Manhattan, and
which scared the bejesus out of the federal government.
Right. We had no clue that day that Clinton was coming to New York in his motorcade. They had closed down 6th Avenue, and his motorcade was going to be driving down 6th Avenue, and here comes our voyeur bus making a turn onto the closed presidential street with a bus full of nude women. Now, as far as President Clinton goes, I'm sure he would have enjoyed that. I'm positive he would have enjoyed that. But as far as Secret Service goes, the sheriff, NYPD, state police, they converged on this vehicle like terrorists were on board.
You know what? The mistake we made that day, though, right in front of the mayor's office when Rudy Giuliani was still in office, they decided to stop the voyeur bus. I think that was the turning point, right, where you turn around?
Yeah.
And they decided, you know, this wasn't good enough that we have a bus filled with naked girls that anyone could see from the street. One girl decided to have a little shower right in front of the mayor's office.
Yeah, so she showered in front of the office. And then they proceeded to come back to the station, and also that's when all hell broke loose.
Also, what wasn't smart that day was inviting a CNN reporter onto the bus, thinking that they were going to spin it your way.
No, they hadn't. Hey, they seem friendly.
Hey, I watch CNN. This is going to be good for us.
Yeah.
I can understand how that we need to do things like this.
Meanwhile, you click on CNN, exclusive footage of the arrest of this disgusting display. What?
As they're on the bus, loving it more than anyone else.
Yeah. So that's an instance where that could have been where we got the boot.
Right.
You know, there were plenty of instances, but for some reason this was it. You know, this one the cards fell. I don't think it was good judgment to go to the church.
I really thought we should have been fired for getting the C word on live TV.
That was another one.
Get it on live TV.
This was during a phase where we were having some of our listeners see if they could get on the live shots.
Right.
Plenty of live news shots in Manhattan during this 5 and 6 o'clock news. They're always set up somewhere. You can see in advance when they're going to go live. And we'd have people on cell phones with us. We'd monitor the television and tell them when they were live and to jump in behind. And then it turned into guys with signs and gorilla suits. And one day we're watching the news. Some guy says he's going to pop on the live shot. And we're watching.
Some guy that may have been fired later on for doing something else on our show in the boss's office, but we can't be certain because his face has never made the TV.
This woman's doing her live shot, and right up from behind her on the side comes this sign, and I think that's the first time the word cunt was on television, on broadcast TV. It said just cunt, right?
Yes, just the word.
But you know, come on, you're sitting home watching that, you're laughing your ass off. It's like, did that just say, what the fuck? I think that said cunt. I don't know why.
Oops. And I think it was a TV station that the parent company owned.
Yeah.
Not smart if you want to keep your job.
So that could have been an instance.
So wait, what happened? What was the fallout there? Like what?
These were all, after these things happened, we noticed it got very cold at the station. No one would talk to us. There'd be phone calls that the boss was taking from management that was higher up than him. And after a couple of days, it would kind of die down. But from what I believe, our boss would catch, a lot of shit for it.
I think they call it holy hell.
Yeah, holy hell. And we were told to, watch it, never do that again, kind of a thing. Of of course,
So we were just put that confused look on our faces, like, what? We didn't know what we were doing. Oh my God, really?
Okay, I'm word that isn't allowed on it. Oh, see, we didn't know that. We should have met with the lawyers.
I'm sorry. We'll try harder next time.
Yeah. So, the fallout with I don't know, with our jobs was always either it's gonna be okay or you're fired. No gray area in between there. You're coming in tomorrow. You're not coming in ever again.
There's just not an employee handbook for radio personalities. Any other job, you can look it up and go, oh, okay, taking a leak in a coffee pot is not a good thing. But with us, you just never knew which is going to be the thing that they fire you over.
Yeah.
Did you really ever think you were going to get fired?
Yeah, I think we always knew. Whenever we get a new job at a new station, the first thing we say is, I hope you enjoy the show. It's a new show, and someday you will tune the station and we will not be there. Radio is a job where you don't get to say goodbye. You don't have 2 weeks' notice. It's as if you were wiped off the face of the earth. You tune the station in. They don't make reference to, hey, yesterday Opie and Anthony were here, but today it's like you never existed. Like the person that's there at that given moment had been there for years and will be there for years until he gets fired. It's a weird Twilight Zone thing,
And they don't even allow you to take that box and take the walk of shame out of the building.
Right, the box with your little plans and your plaque with your name on it.
Right.
Like every sitcom that the guy gets fired. When Darren Stevens gets fired, he takes his box home to Sam.
Maybe some cute little cartoon that you cut out of the Daily News one morning.
A Ziggy that's been on your file cabinet for ages.
Right.
That whole scene is pretty much when you got fired. That's what you picture.
No, and
Our boss comes in and goes, "You're fired." Like Mr. Slate.
No, in our case, everything was put in boxes with tape and
it was taped up for us.
It was pretty much marked as evidence.
Yeah, yeah. So we knew, going into it, that eventually we'd probably get the boot.
That's just something that's always sort of in the back of your mind, no matter where you're.
Yeah, it's a shame to have to go into a job with that attitude, but it's the nature of the beast. We have learned a few things, though. I think we learned how to get around some of those issues.
In what way?
Not to send a couple to have sex in a church,
for example.
That's a good example. No, there's kind of a different climate out there now. It's a few people have a lot of power over what a lot of people can enjoy, and I don't think that's a very good thing, to tell you the truth. A few people
meaning the people that like on Infinity, like the owners of the indicators?
More like special interest groups.
Special interest groups,
Okay.
yeah. There are a few people that, let's say they're offended by something. They can make a huge noise and negate what millions of people enjoy.
Right.
Because they are offended by something, and they then take threats of economic warfare to the corporation, who then listens to them like it's gospel and like it can happen, and act accordingly. They fire people or whatnot.
We need our own letterhead.
Yeah, it seems if they have some fancy letterhead and fire it off to the company with some threats and some company sponsor names on it, that they can pretty much control what a lot of people enjoy listening to.
It's amazing. You can do something and 1 million, 2 million people really enjoy the hell out of it. But one person or a small group will complain and they have so much more power. It's just, it just doesn't make sense. Frightening, yes. We forgot to talk about the Schwoogies.
Oh, we're the Schwoogies.
With the big check. That's a great story for as far as bosses go. I forgot why. Why did he have to give the check to the Schwoogies?
Wasn't it our CD and no one else would take our money?
Yeah, but somehow, oh, okay, I kind of got it. When we were doing our show in Boston, we were accused of being racist, which is just, without getting into it, was just completely ridiculous, you know. I mean, Anthony and I, the one thing we'll do is we'll make fun of everyone and everything. We really don't have an agenda. We could care less. We just want to make people laugh. So we did some stuff, and it was deemed racist. I don't even remember what it was. It was just some stupid thing. So the whole city was up in arms, and the boss got involved again. This was Bruce, the big boss of Boston, and he decided to smooth things over by giving a donation to the Minority Veterans Association, right? Yeah. Basically, black guys that
served in the
that fought in Vietnam.
Yeah.
And we were putting a CD out at the time, and we wanted to put some money, give money to a charity. And we found out that not all charities are willing to accept your money. I'm really surprised at this.
Really? Nothing against the Minority Veterans Association, but they weren't at the top of our give-to list. You know, we probably started with, you know, I don't know, the American Cancer Society, some more well-known.
No, we started with the Jimmy Fund, which is a huge charity up in Boston for cancer kids, basically. And yeah, the Minority Veterans Association was probably one of the last on our list. But honestly, we had a bunch of charities say no to our donation. We were like, here, this CD is going to sell a lot of copies. We are going to give you such and such money to help cure cancer kids. They actually said no. They would rather see kids with hair falling out than take our money. It's just amazed. It just amazed me. We learned something that day. It's like, you got to be kidding. You're not going to take free money?
They wouldn't take our money.
So we decided, okay, well, the Minority Veterans Association will take our money.
Sure.
So, and let's get back. It was because of this, trumped up racist charge against us, which was just completely bogus. So Bruce Mittman, our boss at the time, comes in while we're doing our show, and he's all pissed off at us as he's holding a check that was taller than him because Bruce is pretty much a midget.
Yeah.
He's probably 5'4" tops, and he's carrying this. It's a great visual. He's carrying a check that is almost as tall as him. A huge, we've all seen the huge checks, the fake checks
that you present to people.
And he goes, and I'll never forget. He goes, because of you guys, instead of playing golf today, I'm gonna have to deliver this check to the Schwoogies.
He actually said Schwoogies. Yeah, and that's a typical example of a boss trying to be funny to the guys he feels is outrageous. You know, by saying something like that. You're like, what are you?
But that's another way to piss off the boss. Make him deliver one of these huge checks.
Yeah, he wasn't very happy with that one.
To a charity.
Jesus. God, memories flooding back.
So can you remember, what was the time when your boss was the most pissed off? Like, what was the one thing where he was just like fucking raging in the studio?
Wow. That's got to be Dave.
There were so many, though. He just kind of blanked it out.
Yeah, I remember him running in with he was like an Irish guy with reddish hair and stuff and very fair complexion. And
where was this now? Are we in Boston?
In Boston, yeah. And when he would come running in screaming, the glow that came off of his face, he turned so bright red that we swore he was just going to drop dead right on the floor right in front of us. He was so pissed, his eyes would be bugging out of his head. And this was over things like, we'd come in, and before the show, he'd sit us down and say, look, I got some calls today from the Boston chapter of GLAAD, gay, lesbian.
Oh, the time they handed out dittos.
Yeah. And they're very angry at some things you were saying about the gays yesterday. And we're like, well, what did we even say? Like, I don't remember. So he says, just make sure you don't talk about gay people anymore. Don't. I'm like, okay. So we go into the studio. First break. Start talking about gay guys. Ass sex or something. I don't know.
It was just our way to show who was the real boss.
And we go into breaks, and he'd come in with a red face, just screaming.
I told you not to talk about
gays! Yeah, he would actually scream like this. And me and Opie would look at each other and look at Dave all confused and go, oh, I thought when you said that, you said don't like talk about that certain thing with Gabe. I made it clear, you assholes, that not even anything about Gabe. No gay talk ever! Yeah. And he would get so pissed off, and he'd leave, and like the next break, we would talk about gay people, but and maybe we camouflage it a little bit, but he gets so pissed off, and there was really nothing he could do about it. I mean, it really was. He couldn't take us off the air, not for that. I mean, we were doing very well, and if we do well, you know, it's perceived that he did well.
Right.
So he couldn't take us off the air. We knew that. We knew the power we wielded, especially up there at that time. You know, now, if you do well, obviously, you don't wield as much power as you used to, because the big corporations that own the stations now have so much property that, you know, your show that was doing well really isn't as important to them. You know, I mean, Viacom, for instance, owns a Blockbuster, for God's sake, you know? What do they care about the Opie and Anthony show? So you don't wield that kind of power anymore, even if you're doing very well.
But for normal people, if you can piss off the boss if you're going to make them look better in the process.
Yeah, if by doing your job and you do it well, and it makes the boss look good, like he can then go to his boss and say, look at my production is up, and look at these numbers, blah, blah, blah. Whatever the boss says. I just picture bosses always saying that, my numbers are up, look at my production. You're pulling out reams of paper that mean nothing to me, just bore me to death. And, you know, if he can then go to his boss because of what you did, you can get away with a lot more, you know? Have you seen Office Space? That movie, great. It's genius. I laugh my ass off at that when he just decides to go to work and fuck off. Yeah, I'm gonna need you to go ahead and come on in on Sunday. Can't do it. Fuck you. I love that attitude.
You kind of have that attitude.
Yeah. Yeah, well, now we get to sit around and not go to work every day. It's great.
Maybe we should start listening to the boss.
Yeah.
Nah. There was also the time I almost punched one of our bosses in the face while he was licking an ice cream cone.
What happened there?
Well, see, I don't know. We, our first boss in New York was a boss that just was never around for whatever reason. And, I don't know, we were doing something on the air where all hell was breaking loose. We had the press calling us. We had just everyone calling us. I don't even remember what it was anymore.
I think it was a fight with Matt and Trey from South Park.
Oh, okay, yeah. There was another radio station in town that that worked for the same company that was trying to take our interview away from the guys from South Park. And we go way back to the South Park guys. Maybe if you asked them that question, they'd be like, Opie and Anthony who? But to us, we really felt like we were pals with them when they were first starting out. But, yeah, so we had this interview planned, and it was a big deal for us, and another station decided to put them on the air before we had the chance. And in radio, that's like such a no-no, so we just lost our freaking minds, yelling and screaming and just raising bloody hell. And the press was calling because we just said some crazy stuff. And, you know, it's good. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, so we needed someone there to fight the battle behind the scenes for us. That's kind of what the boss, you know, would do for us in radio. And he was nowhere to be seen. And he comes walking in at the wrong time with an ice cream cone after being gone like 3 hours, going, "Hey guys, what's up?
What's up?"
And
I image of him licking that ice cream cone, smiling as all hell is breaking loose in our little world.
So I threw down my headphones, got right in his face, losing my freaking mind, yelling and screaming, and I saw it in his eyes that he wanted to punch me in the face, but never did it.
Yeah, Gary, he was something. We've been through so many.
How many bosses have you guys been through? Like how often would they change up on you?
Jeez. They throw out an old one, put in an intermediary guy, and then get a new one. We were hired in Boston by one program director, and as he hired us, it was packing his bags to come to New York to leave. And then they brought in this Dave guy, and it was a clusterfuck.
In New York, we had Ice Cream Gary, Ice Cream Gary,
And then he got the boot, and they brought in the general manager from 1010 Wins to be our program director. A guy that, nice enough guy, but I really don't think he grasped that format, In between jokes, guys, could you do some traffic on the ones?
Speaking of traffic on the ones, we're at our first Christmas party. We were in New York maybe at this point, I don't know, 5 months, and we were invited to the big, huge Christmas party. And it was a very classy affair at one of these, hotels and stuff. Really, really nice. It was almost like black tie. And the boss from 1010 Wins was so proud of us, he wanted to introduce us to everybody. And these guys are staunch newsmen that have been doing news in New York for, 20, 30 years. Hardcore reporters that, got the story. And I didn't realize that they took their traffic on the ones or whatever very seriously. So I had a few drinks. Here's another way to piss off your boss. I had a few drinks, and he introduces us, and I said a few things, and I finished by saying, by the way, your traffic sucks, and it's never accurate. And I'm thinking I'm going to get a quick little laugh, like, oh,
that's their world.
Yeah.
Like, especially the people that are in charge of doing the traffic on 1010 Wins. That's their whole job.
Yeah, it's
just his career.
And I thought they would have a sense of humor. Instead, there was a whole from the whole crowd. And I'm thinking to myself, it's stupid traffic here. Let's calm down, And then the boss kind of took the mic, and you hear the feedback as he's trying to compose himself. And well, let's hear it for Opie and Anthony. And you hear that
yeah, great.
that awkward applause from a few people.
They'll be gone soon.
Yeah, we wanted to hide that day. That didn't make the boss happy.
Is there anything that's sort of gone on behind the scenes that didn't sort of make it onto the radio?
Oh.
No, see, that was was there?
Things that we couldn't talk about on the air.
Oh, yeah.
Things that we couldn't, we almost got fired closer than we ever got almost fired until we got fired. We were called in from vacation. This was so bad. And actually got yelled at by Mel Karmazin, one of the muckety mucks.
Yeah.
And that was really bad.
That was New Year's Day, I think. Who's in New York City New Year's Day besides us?
Yeah, for meeting.
Or maybe it was January 2nd, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you guys done to piss him off?
We were sat down, and the first thing that was said to us in that meeting was, what time do you wake up in the morning and decide how are you going to fuck Mel Karmazin? Yeah. Yeah, that's what he told us that day. Apparently, he was angry because another air personality for Infinity Broadcasting was angry that we were touching a bit on his personal life. That's pretty much.
Gotcha.
Even though this person
built a career on touching on people's personal lives, but, for some reason, when you touched on that personality's personal life, he ran to Mel Karmazin.
How did he have the pull, though, to get you guys called in and get an ass treatment like that?
Oh, I don't know.
This guy bills a lot of millions of dollars for the company, so
I think he did pretty well in his career.
Did pretty well. Bills a couple of bucks for the company.
Has some power. I'll never forget that meeting, though.
Oh, my God.
They made us wait in a conference room forever, to the point where, your balls were sweating. And I remember looking out the window, looking at a building, and all it said on the building, and no joke here, I think we're like 30, 40 stories up, and on the side of the building it just said 666.
Yeah, the big red 666.
I'm like, oh
this
my God.
Is great. We're going to be so reamed out. Yeah, that was a memorable meeting, and that got really stinky. Like, we thought we were done.
I saw it in his eyes.
He wanted to.
He wanted to fire us.
He wanted to fire us.
But for whatever reason, he didn't.
Yeah.
So it doesn't need to go in the article. We're talking about Stern now.
Huh?
We're talking about Stern.
Huh? What?
Are you stupid?
Of course
we are.
I'm making sure.
I'll just joke with you.
So that was the closest you guys think you came before.
Yeah, that was pretty much
that was
it.
The one.
Because we walked in there thinking that was it.
Okay.
We were walking into the place going, okay.
And I remember the long walk to this building from where our studio was.
Yeah.
And we're walking with Ken.
Yeah.
Probably our favorite boss to this day. And the guy supported us to the end. He even supported us after 6 or 7 3. And I remember he hated us so much that day. Refused to talk to us, but was still supporting us.
Yeah.
And I just didn't know why he was still there for us. I to this day, I'm amazed.
Yeah.
He goes, I hate you guys more than life itself, but I will be there in that meeting with you.
Yeah, we thought we were all out of there. You don't meet with him, and especially when you're in trouble. You know, there are 20 other bosses below him that they can set up a meeting with. You know, like, oh boy. Yeah.
So if you sort of always had in the back of your head that it's possible you'll be fired at any point, do you sort of regret now not having looked at your contract a little bit more closely?
You know, what are you going to do? The companies that you sign contracts with, no matter what job you're in, they spend their entire time as a company hiring lawyers to write these contracts.
Protect themselves.
You, as an employee, go in, and how much experience do you really have? Of course, you can hire a lawyer and whatnot, but they're...
You guys didn't have a lawyer look at it?
Yeah, no, we did.
I was gonna say,
We have an
at
agent.
that point, you guys must have been,
Yeah, we have an agent. But, you know, it's... The company's always going to get what they want in a contract. Your lawyer or agent's job is to then negotiate with them to get the best deal for yourself.
Right.
It's never 100%. It's never exactly what you want. You know, usually the company's got a few things in there that you wouldn't like in there. You know, the fact that we're not working right now.
You would literally be sitting out for that much time? Like, do you think you'd be able to weasel out of it in some way?
No, we learned about this clause after we got hired. I mean, you know, we're idiots. I mean, simple as that. I mean, you know, and Anthony and I are pretty intelligent guys, but when it comes to like simple stuff, we're idiots.
It's like when you're signing with them. It's all balloons and birthday cake and
The boss
smiling faces.
The boss came in with a 5-foot pen for us to sign the contract. Everything was great.
Kind of like a big novelty, like...
And I'm like, maybe I should read this thing before I sign. Oh, you don't need to read that.
I'll compare it to something a lot of people can understand, a marriage. You go into a marriage when everyone's in love, you don't think about the bad part of it and it ending and maybe what's going to come about in the ending of that marriage. So you just get married and eat your cake and dance and put on the sunglasses and play the big blow-up saxophone with your friends. And then before you know it, you're in court going, how much?
What?
What happened?
When do they make these rules?
Yeah.
They should give you the rules.
Give you the rule book.
So, I did try to read the contract, and by the 5th page, I was dizzy.
Yeah.
And we had a show to do that day.
Hair tune, 4 widths, and well, but there are certain things that even if you know about them, you can't get out of the contracts. Just the way they're written, and you know, you want to work for them, deal with it. And it's almost, you know, we take it as a compliment to our talent and destructive ability that they want to tie us up for so long. It's sort of a tribute to the potential that we have to wreak havoc. So we'll see. But, you know, that too will end.
So the future now. What do you guys? First of all, what are you doing now? Are you just sitting on your asses all day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You try to occupy your time. Everyone says, you know, so what are you doing? And you go, really nothing, not much. Well, you're getting paid. Well, yeah. Oh, well, that must be great. You know, for the first few months,
It's awesome.
damn, I'm going to Disney World. I'm going to the Bahamas, you know. And after a while, you're like, I got nothing to do. You can go to the Bahamas again, but what are you going to do?
Well, you realize all your friends have jobs.
Yeah.
So
you're not hanging out with them, they're working.
I wish this happened to me when I was 22, so I could call up all the guys. Guys, we're going to the beach. We're going to have, you know, get some, some 6-packs or cases, and we're just going to rock the beach all day long. You make phone call after phone call after phone call and realize you're the only one not working.
Yeah.
I play golf with old men on a weekly basis.
Oh, God.
swear to you, every week I play golf with guys that are at least 65 and above. That's what I do.
Retired people and Opie and Anthony are the only people that aren't working. And that's, that's about it. I mean, that's what we do. You find things to occupy the time. I think I've seen every DVD that's been put out. That's about it.
And you're forbidden not just from doing radio, but any sort of entertainment.
Yeah, it seems like we really don't have much of a window of opportunity to do anything under
we got to pretty much tell them when we're going to dump.
Yeah.
Could you go be a bricklayer? Like, could you go do something that's completely...
Boy, I sure don't know. I don't know. How many bricklaying companies does Viacom own? I'm sure quite a few. It's a weird situation to be in.
So it's a non-compete situation, essentially.
Yeah, we can't really do anything. At one point we were offered an opportunity to come in and talk to Comedy Central about doing the Man Show when Adam and Dr. Drew left. Or Adam and, what's his name? Jimmy Kimmel left. And, we came in and talked to some people and then found out, no, you can't do this. Oh, okay. What are you going to do when you're in that situation? It's
that's
like,
so weird also because that's Viacom.
Right.
Like, that's ridiculous.
Well, no, it's pretty ridiculous.
Well, yeah.
they don't want us working for them or anyone else at this point. So
I also learned something else, that we can't even really walk away from this contract.
That might be a little more detailed than we want to go.
Can't though.
Yeah. It's the oddest situation to be in, but we've been out how long?
15 months.
About 15 months. And we're in what we call the home stretch.
Right.
So eventually...
So it's June? Is that when
the deal ends? The deal ends in June. Yeah. And, at that point, when we go out, there's still a shitload of people that are clamoring to listen to us on the air. There is nothing going on in radio now. It's amazing. And I don't just say this as a poor schlep that isn't on the air at this point. I don't have anything to listen to, I mean, obviously I couldn't listen to our show on my way home, but on my way home I would listen to things like, Ron and Fez, which was, interesting, fun radio to listen to. There's nothing like that on the New York airwaves right now. There is nothing. There's nothing that you can turn on and say, wow, that's fun or interesting or outrageous or offensive or just something to tweak you, to make you turn your head from the road, look at your radio and go, what?
Yeah.
There's nothing. Guys singing songs, reading liners, commercials, and playing music. Other than that, where's the controversy? Where's the fun? Where's the stuff that people either loved or hated but talked about? It's not out there anymore. It's gone. So, gotta wait until June to get it back.
And you guys think that your next move will be back into radio? Like, you're not going to try and go on TV or something like that? You want to show back?
We
do radio.
Do radio. That's what we do.
I wonder who our next boss is going to be.
He's out there somewhere.
He's out there somewhere right now.
Unsuspecting.
He thinks he has the cushiest job in the world. Just pushing the papers and looking at his numbers.
Yeah.
Look at my numbers.
Look at my numbers.
Has no idea what's right around the corner.
How are these numbers?
Do you have a plan? What do you think the first thing your first new boss is going to be pissed off about? Any idea?
Wow. That's a good one. I'm trying to picture our first day. I'm sure it'll be on that day.
To be determined.
Yeah, that's kind of a mystery. One of those things you're sure will happen, but just not sure how.
Fair enough.
Yeah, he's sitting out there all unsuspecting right now.
God.
It's horrible. What a fate.
Anything else about bosses that we should know about, or advice for the kids out there?
Yeah, when you fuck up, don't fuck up on a slow news day.
Yeah, that's a biggie. That'll snowball on you. And the fact that, you can't just go into a job on day one and lead with your balls in front of your boss. You know, you do have to build up something, a little power base,
Right.
before you can jump on him and treat him like the dick he is. You know, you gotta kiss a little ass at first, and then once you build up that power base, all bets are off. He can then be exposed.
Good stuff.
That's about it.